Saturday.
I think we need 11. I think we need 11.
Why?
We have 19 forms on 5.
No, we need 10. But
Half plus 1. Half plus 1, random, I'm wrong. Half
We
plus
got
1,
a man,
quorum for
Wilmington,
committee.
Braidwood, we got a Braidwood, got the florist,
Under the law?
moved to Bolingbrook. What? Then my wife now has to turn around and say, live in Bolingbrook. Got a stepson, he's like 22 now, and his pants started to sag, he started hanging around. It's like, come on, I knew a place to go, I couldn't find nothing out that far, she wouldn't move to Wilmington or Braidwood because of my ex. So I was like, oh, Manhattan's good.
I asked, I was supposed to have asked Lisa for the comment.
They found a nice big house out there. 5 acres. That house in out there.
When is my next meeting? Find the calendar. This is a post meeting. This guy texted me at 6:45 this morning about Friday showing up at a school.
See, you would love to rent this.
Yeah, I got a partner. He got 100% resi got out. He fought Sandlot. He was 100% resi got out. And he used to went to school for him. He worked his own. He got a master driver. He's going to start dying of his dates. I went in the area and for evac. I didn't fight.
The state's, it's a very,
School principal.
I don't know.
He's turned around, I got out.
Now wants to know what time I'm stopping at the school to pick up the teacher.
I was over Europe. I was close.
And I make Greg, I don't know if you know Greg Palmer. He's our adjutant. He's the senior vice. He was supposed to be in charge of all this. So he decided to go fishing.
So, the OMA is, you have 19 forms, let's say we were doing that, say that the 20th existed, 11 we are.
Besides,
Man, you should have seen all the raffle prizes they had. And Ryan Post had their 90th anniversary yesterday. They had over 40 prizes. And each one of the prizes had 6 or 7 things added to it. They had what was called the pizza wheel.
You could call a meeting as the.
And all Cicero and surrounding area
And
had donated gift certificates. So they put them on pizza cardboard. Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. Gutter cleaning.
I know your history.
I won the one at the Viola Fitness Center.
Who's gonna count, who's counting the delegate? Raise your hand if you're a delegate. 7, 8, 9. We're at 9. We need 2 more delegates before we can have the meeting. Here comes somebody.
That's a delegate.
Eight half plus one. Oh,
So there's the next question.
there's 2 coming
Take
in.
another one.
Except I don't know if there's an alternate or a delegate. Does anybody know where they both delegates or they're alternate?
For Blackburn, you have to,
Both of them?
I can't tell you.
Me?
No, that's John,
Oh,
right?
sure.
Blackburn.
I'm just trying to. I gave. Well, it's something called me. I can DoorDash some coffee and go, that's over if you want.
I sent that again, which I pulled out of an email that actually came from the office.
He's planning not a delegate, so that was, no, he's not a delegate.
Who's on it?
I think the guy that came in,
Are you a delegate, sir?
no.
I am, yes.
You are?
Yes.
Do we have a delegate form for him?
Raise your hand if you're a delegate, not an alternate, or a delegate. One person per post.
Who is he?
At the table.
Raise your hands if you're a delegate up there. Just-
Yeah, I believe we have just right one.
So that makes 11.
Yep, so.
Do we have a delegate form for this gentleman? Okay.
Thank you, sir, for checking. You're on time. Who are you again?
I'm Paul O'Grady. I'm the attorney that's going to help run the meeting this morning. If we have one, and we have the AG's office here as well. Look over my shoulder to make sure I'm doing it right. I have the Edgar County Watchdog Peer Group to report on whether I'm doing it right. So I think before we start the meeting, here's where we're at, right? We have 11 delegates, which gives us a quorum, because we have 20 forms, is that correct? So that's, we're all in agreement, we have 10 plus 1, so we have a quorum of the delegates. We have the executive committee, which is made up, we have a quorum of that. We have the sergeant at arms, we have the president, we have the chaplain. Unfortunately for chaplain, his post merged last week, so he's no longer a delegate and he can't vote. Who's this walking in? Is he a delegate? Or alternate?
Yeah.
Alternate? Okay.
No, he's a delegate.
I'm a delegate.
Okay, great, thank you, welcome. So, again, so we have a quorum of delegates because we have 20 and we have 12 now, right? So we check that box. Our bylaws say that before we can have an election, we need a quorum of the executive committee. Jim's post merged last week, and so he's no longer a delegate, but he's held over in his appointment as a chaplain. So he counts towards a quorum of the executive committee. If Jim doesn't count, that means we don't have a quorum of the executive committee, which means we can't have an election this morning. So we have to count Amanda, Jack, and Jim, because they're the only 3 that are left on the executive committee. We have no vice president, and we have no secretary. And we have 5 on the executive committee. Jim will count towards a quorum of the executive committee, but will not vote because he's no longer a delegate.
So you can't vote, right? So the vote won't count.
He doesn't vote.
He doesn't vote.
Doesn't vote at all. The same applies to the president. His appointment holds over, and he counts towards a quorum of the executive committee, but because his post, he's no longer a delegate, he can't vote. But he counts towards a quorum of the executive committee. Amanda's both. She's a delegate and a sergeant at arms, so her vote counts. The same is true of Stephen and Janet, who are members of the executive committee, but don't count towards a quorum, but are delegates and their vote counts. Are you following me? So what we're going to, if you disagree, speak up now before we start the meeting. And we'll just figure this out. Because either we're going to have an election this morning, or we're going to call the meeting for lack of a quorum, and we'll just get up and leave, and we'll figure this out in the courts.
We're not.
Hold on. You was first, go ahead.
I'm not getting it. So Jack and Chaplain don't have to say,
They don't get a vote.
they don't get a vote.
But they
They're not
count
delegates.
towards a quorum under our bylaws, says, under our bylaws, to have an election.
Because of our laws.
I'm sorry, I just try not to interrupt me.
Okay,
Thank you. Let's go over this one more time so everybody can hear it. The bylaws state we have to have a quorum of the executive committee and a quorum of delegates. There's two boxes we need to check. Jack and Jim, who are the president and chaplain, count towards the quorum for the executive committee to check that box. You disagree?
I disagree.
All right, then we'll cancel the meeting. It doesn't matter.
It was easy.
If we don't have a quorum of the executive
Never
committee,
opened the meeting.
we
We don't
then
have.
we'll cancel the meeting for lack of a quorum. I just, what's your reason?
What's that?
Why don't you think they count towards it?
Our bylaws?
Pardon me?
You were saying our bylaws, you said something about our bylaws, but our bylaws don't supersede the law, correct?
The bylaws control the election of this body, and the AGs here are to opine, do you agree or disagree?
Our law does.
Right, the bylaws say that we need a quorum of our executive committee to hold an election. You're cutting me off again.
I just want to be clear.
The bylaws state that we have to have a quorum of our executive committee to have the election. You understand that part?
Sir.
So if you don't agree that this constitutes a quorum and you're going to sue us, there's no reason to move forward today. No reason with this election. If that's what you want to do, hold on, what's your question?
I don't have a question, sir. I do have a question. Why don't we vote on that
Not
point?
a meeting.
First of all, it's our bylaws. We
That's
can't
what-
change the
that's what-
bylaws without a
No,
quorum.
sir, I'm saying, why don't the delegates have the say to vote instead of just listening to one person?
Well, because what I'm trying to do is get agreement amongst the delegates.
Well, then you
That-
gotta hold them.
Well, if there's one person that's going to sue and invalidate the whole election, then there's no reason to go forward. That's my point. And he says he's going to, this is the litigation, you're the plaintiffs on one of these cases, right? So if that's their position, that they don't think this constitutes a quorum up here, that's fine. You know, I'm not going to sit here and argue. I'm trying to figure out a way to move forward and have this election this morning. I've examined the bylaws, I've examined the Military Veterans Act, I examined the county's code. I'm trying to find a way for us to get a quorum to have this election. If this body doesn't want to have an election this morning, I can't stop that. I mean, I'll just, if somebody's going to sue, then let's just let the courts figure it out.
I make a motion not to have an election.
There's no, the meeting's not open, the meeting's not open, so, but that, I'm just explaining where we're at, yes.
I have some questions and some observations. First of all, my question is the only, first, you're saying election today, but this meeting is not for an election, this meeting is for a nomination.
Correct.
The
So,
election meeting is on Friday,
correct,
which I don't understand why it has to be two meetings, but whatever,
Fair enough.
it's two meetings.
okay,
So it's only the nomination today, the election is Friday. So I want to make sure that that's clear.
yes, sir, that's correct, you are correct. So
Yeah.
that's my bad verbiage.
The other thing that I'm to understand is that the only thing that we can talk about today is the nomination. Is that correct?
I didn't look at the agenda, but I think
Yes,
that's
there's
correct.
nothing on the agenda.
So the only thing that we can discuss today is the nomination. And nothing else. I mean, we can talk, but the meeting hasn't started. But
Correct.
once the meeting started, the only topic of discussion, the only topic that we can talk about is the nomination. When that's done, if we decide to move forward with it, then that's done.
Correct.
I also understand that this VAC can function without an executive committee. And if we just,
And the superintendent, that's a decision for the state's attorney's office in Will County, and what they're gonna do, I have no idea.
well,
So I
but
can't.
but this isn't an election of a superintendent, this is the election of the executive.
But we don't have a superintendent, you agree? There's no
Correct.
appointed.
Correct.
There's an interim, but we don't have an appointed one.
Right.
And now we don't have an executive committee.
What I'm saying is that simply,
No, we don't.
this VAC can function without an executive board.
That's
Correct.
your opinion. I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay.
Okay, fair enough. What's your point?
And so I'm clarifying and I'm asking questions is all. The only thing I'm trying to do, this is my first meeting here, and from what I see, this VAC seems to be run pretty poorly, and either doesn't seem to follow the bylaws, or when it tries to follow the bylaws are a hot mess. They're
I agree with that.
contradictory, they're incomplete, they contradict with the MVAA. There's a lot of issues there. And in my opinion, I don't care whether we do elections or not. All I care about is getting to the point where we address the bylaws, fix the bylaws, and then get to the next new election so that we can do that the proper way. That's all I want to get to. So
Okay.
I'm just trying to clarify what we've got going and what we can and we can't do. So if we do not have, and the last thing that I want to clarify with you is, you said that if we don't get nominations done today because we don't agree that there's a quorum, and I don't agree or disagree at the moment, you said that we're just going to dissolve the VAC, or is that just hyperbole?
I didn't say dissolve, but I said it could.
So, okay, so the implication was that we're just going to give up and throw our hands up. What I'm saying is that,
I have no control over what they do.
okay,
And what they do is not me.
right.
I work for this group, or this group.
So it's just, I don't see the lack of elections dissolving this VAC. I see the lack of elections saying that we need to fix our bylaws so that there aren't these weird questions about how can somebody be a delegate, how can someone be on the executive board without being a delegate? All right, that's a big question that's out there.
So,
Why?
okay, so let's stop there.
Yes.
You threw a lot at me. So the way I saw it was like 5 points. You're correct. We're only doing nominations today. So you're 100% right on that one. The bylaws, I agree. As far as I can tell, at some point, this Will County VAC was a not-for-profit, and the bylaws were never fixed. They're inconsistent, they're terrible, they're horrible, it's a hot mess. I'm trying to straighten that mess out the best way I can.
Yep.
The easy way for me is to punt and go into court and say, Judge, you figure this out. I can't figure this out. And I'm happy to do that. But I don't know how that serves anybody.
Sure.
But
And the
if that's,
reason why I'm
if that's
here-
what everybody wants to do,
The reason why I'm here is to try to fix it without it going to court.
well, I think we all have that common goal.
Right.
All So any other questions for me? Because they're having another
No,
question.
go right ahead.
All right. So,
I have a question. Why can't,
just one more point, I'm sorry. We can't amend the bylaws because we don't have a quorum. So
Why?
it's chicken and the egg. The bylaws are mixed up. We can't fix the bylaws until we seat a new executive committee, because we don't really have a quorum of people that can vote on the bylaws to change them and amendment. So I agree, the bylaws need to be fixed. I agree they're a hot mess, but we're not going to be able to fix them until we seat a new executive committee.
Real quick question about that. Does that mean?
Or we wait to the next full meeting in December.
Does that mean that does that mean that the bylaws have put the power into the executive committee's hands where only the executive committee can approve new bylaws?
No, we can wait till the next full board meeting in
Okay,
December.
so at a full board meeting, the delegation can vote on that?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, sir.
sir, the way I understand the bylaws, we have a quorum of delegates. We don't need a quorum of an executive committee because there doesn't need to be an executive committee.
Well, I disagree with you on that. I think the bylaws state that we need an executive committee and a quorum of the executive committee to have the election. So they're
No,
inconsistent.
No, it's not that way.
Well, sir, I'm not here to argue the law with you, but I don't have any, that's for judges to decide, right?
Right.
I have one opinion, you have another opinion, your attorneys have other opinions, you're already in court with us over it. We can sit around and wait for a judge to decide it. You've already taken that step.
So,
But
so I have
hold
to
on,
jump
hold
in.
on.
I have,
My
no,
point,
no, Paul,
sir.
no.
May I
I
follow
have-
up? My point is that how are you going to get a quorum when you can't get a quorum on the committee because there's not enough of them that are eligible to be
That's,
voted?
well, I explained that earlier. I explained that this is,
We have a quorum of the commission. I think, due respect to Mr. O'Grady, the commission is the larger group. There are 34 organizations within the county of Will. 20 of them have submitted delegates. According to the OMA, a quorum is half plus one
That's in
of the
That doesn't
commission.
constitute.
The OMA doesn't talk about a quorum of the
what our
executive board.
bylaws do.
Our bylaws
control
do.
this.
We do not
All our
have
rules
a
of law.
signed copy of the bylaws since 2006.
You better read the
last one that
bylaws.
we
It does.
actually
We do have a
signature
quorum.
on. At that point,
You don't have a
we've all
copy
been
of it?
clear. I've gotten up here and said, the bylaws need to be fixed. All the executive committee would have ever had to do was request that a few of you come together and create an ad hoc committee and do that. No matter how many times I've asked for that, it still doesn't get done. The commission runs itself. Sir, you're correct. Without an executive committee, the 34 organizations, 20 of whom have made delegates, run the commission. The office doesn't shut down. Will County's already got a 2023 budget. Everything's going to keep running. What we don't have is an executive committee. Do we want to? We have 11 delegates. That is a quorum under the OMA.
It doesn't satisfy the bylaws.
Bylaws are superseded
Not
by
sure.
the,
Court
by
That's
the
your
is
OMA.
going to look at our bylaws.
That's not my opinion.
That's-
I don't know what you want me to do, look past the bylaws and just say, oh, defer. The OMA, by the way, does not define what a quorum is.
No, but we have a quorum anyway. We have 3 elected officials on the board up there, and you have 5 members. That's a
Well, that-
quorum according to
That's what I said 20 minutes ago.
Okay, we're agreeing
But
with
he
you.
says that he doesn't count that.
Does he rule the
Well, he says he's
decisions
gonna
here?
litigate, he's in litigation with us.
I don't care that he's not in litigation with us. We're the
He's in litigation
commission.
with us.
We're the commission. He's not in his decisions doesn't affect us.
And by the way, the agenda has nothing, go ahead, Dan.
Can I say something? If you want to be in litigation with us, that's your right, right? This is America. Do it. That's your right. You have shown up to this meeting how many times?
A handful of times.
Yeah, right? And we all want the greater good. So you personally shutting this meeting down because you personally want to
You want the
litigate
greater
this.
good, but
Can I
you're having
finish
a meeting
speaking?
at
I
9
did
a.m.
not
Can you
interrupt.
not interrupt her? Let's be respectful of each
I
other.
did not interrupt you.
Yes, sir.
All I'm saying is, if you personally want to do this, that's your right. I don't believe that right is going to cover the greater good of this commission. And I want to speak to Ms. McCassin's comment. We brought this person onto the board, and her first role was to fix the bylaws. That was her first role. And so we've had this issue right from the very beginning, and it's not being fixed. So we need to come together, get behind the bylaws, fix them, just as Mr. O'Grady said. We're not going to do it by constantly bickering and pushing meetings back.
Well, don't have meetings at 9 in the morning. I mean, come on.
The reason, I don't know the reason behind that,
You just let her
but
finish
I'm here,
speaking.
right? Because I want the greater good for the commission. So if we have a majority of people who want the greater good for the commission, for goodness sake, let's move forward and get the meeting started.
Yes, sir.
I just got one question, and I'm trying to get clarified. You keep on saying that they got litigation against us. I was under understanding they have litigation against individuals, not against the VAC itself.
It's my understanding that the judge that ruled that said you can't sue the individuals, you have to add in the VAC. So that's, we're waiting for the amended complaint to come through.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Yep. John, did you have something?
I'm not a delegate, I don't have a dog in the fight, I just have a comment on, if you decide not to vote today, you could always recess to the Friday meeting. You don't have to repost it according to the Open Meetings Act. If you follow the exact same agenda on Friday before your scheduled Friday meeting, you could recess to Friday, as long as you announce the day, time, and location today with everybody here, and do this agenda, which will be the nominations, and then close this meeting, and then open up the Friday meeting and do your votes if you think you can get enough people to satisfy both the quorums.
Well, I think we have it right now, so I don't know why we're deferring it. Nothing's gonna change. Like, if we even got 10 more people in this room, it's not really gonna, 10 more delegates hypothetically, it's not gonna change, it's not gonna change the makeup up here of the executive committee. We have the chaplain, the president, and the sergeant at arms. Right? Again, non-voting, voting. To check the box of the bylaws. Well, we can argue to the cows come home whether the Military Veterans Act supersedes the bylaws. I disagree. He has a different opinion. That's his right. I'm not here to resolve that. I've looked at it all weekend. I've been working on this all weekend, trying to figure out, this is the best I've come up with to move it forward. If there's not agreement amongst us to let it move forward, then let's wait for the regular meeting in December, and in the meantime, whatever happens, happens. So that's what he said.
Why can't we have a show of hands of delegates that want to proceed with the meeting today, and see if we're going to have one person that's going to dictate to this commission how to operate?
Agreed.
I gotta tell you, if we're bringing on any more litigation, I am going to leave and I'll break the quorum anyway. I'm not gonna bring any more litigation onto this.
It's already there.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's going to challenge the validity of what we're about to do today because he believes there's something wrong with the makeup of this executive committee, then there's no reason to, why bring on more litigation? I agree with that. Let's just wait for the next regular
Can we
meeting in
ask him
December.
to explain why he believes that there's not a quorum?
Yeah, I'd like to.
All right, go ahead.
What's that?
You heard his question.
Why do you believe there's not a quorum?
Is there none on the board? As far as I'm aware.
According to the bylaws, you only need 3 members. You need 5 members present, 3 of which are elected officials.
All right, me and you can go back and forth outside after we're done with this, and we'll talk about it together.
What bylaws? Which bylaws says that?
Bylaws don't supersede the law, and I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm sure you-
But bylaws control the meetings and
Yes.
how we conduct our business. Is there any disagreement about that? The bylaws control how we do our business. They're screwed up, but those are our bylaws. As messed up as they are, they're trying to fix it. You heard that. Everybody recognizes the bylaws are messed up. But until they're amended, and until we fix them, that's what we have to
And
follow.
we can't do that till we get an executive committee.
No. You could do that on
Elect.
your own. You do not have to have an executive committee to continue with the BAC work.
I didn't say that. He's talking about, he's talking about amending the
I'm
bylaws.
talking about straightening out the bylaws. We can't do that until we get a committee. We can't get a committee until we get a quorum or whatever we need in
We're never
order to
going to be
vote.
able to check the box any better than it is today.
There
We have the
are other
sergeant at arms.
commissions. There are other commissions in the state of Illinois, in other counties, that operate without an executive committee. The superintendent runs
but
what the commission, which is the group, you all are the commission. This is not the commission.
Correct.
You all are the commission.
That was my point in the beginning, that we have a
Plenty
quorum
of-
of
Clarify,
committee
we are
people.
part of the commission.
You are part of the commission. Those of you who are delegates from
Thank
your
you.
posts
Thank you.
are part of the commission.
And let's wait a second. So I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but our next regular board meeting's in December for the full commission, and that's when we can take up all these issues.
Right.
If, our bylaws also call for an election in October. That's why we're meeting today, at the weird time that nobody agrees with. Fine, I'm sorry, this is the only time I could be here. I have other things to do too, and I have to fly out this afternoon. But I came here this morning to try to resolve this. But that's fine. I'll be back in town on Friday. But we're not gonna check the October box on the bylaws either.
Are you here to represent them or to investigate?
I'm here trying to help everybody.
Nobody's recognizing my hand, everybody just keeps talking. Hold on, stop, please. we got to, first of all, we have to stop talking over each other. That's just BS. To be talking over each other and not recognizing and not letting people speak. Clearly, I've had my hand up for several minutes here, and I've had people talking over me.
You had your turn.
I understand that, but I have a question, I have a comment for this group. We got to get past all of this. We got to get past all of this, or else we're not doing what we're here to do, and that is help veterans. All right? I don't care whether or not we make nominations today. I don't care whether we make elections on Friday. I'm probably not going to be able to be here. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've got meetings for work. I probably can't make it. I don't know if my alternate can make it. He's got a job too. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with all that. But I don't care about all that. What I need to do is I need to get to the next regular meeting to change the bylaws to put the power in the delegates' hands. Right now, the power is in the executive committee's hands. We need a quorum of the executive committee for any business to happen according to the bylaws in which I read them. And whether or not you agree that the law can be superseded by the bylaws or not, if the law doesn't state what a quorum is, but the bylaws do, the bylaws take precedence there. So, but again, I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I'm okay with electing someone that I don't necessarily think is going to do a good job, because I'm going to come in and I'm going to change the bylaws and get the membership to approve that. That's my goal here. I've read the bylaws. I've listened to a lot of people talk about stuff, and it's just absolutely messed up. And so I just want to, we need to stop bickering and arguing and decide what it is that we're going to do to get the power out of the executive committee hands, get it into the membership, because the only way that we can run this correctly is by putting it on the membership. And however we get past that, whether we just scrap this whole nomination and election thing until the next December meeting, and then the membership actually can have votes and make motions towards resolving the bylaws, establishing another special meeting to do an election, things like that, that's fine. But we just got to get past this right now. I can't sit here for 3-4 hours arguing this. I've got to get to work, right? And it's not doing anybody any good. We're wasting everybody's time arguing back and forth. So, like, let's figure out, are we going to do this nomination today? Are we not? Are we just going to punt and go into the December meeting? I'm fine with either one of them. I'm just telling you right now, those bylaws got to be changed. They got to be fixed. They're contradictory. They're terrible. And that's what has to happen. And if you guys agree with me, great. I'll head up a bylaws committee if there isn't already a chair of that. But that's where we got to get to. And we can't get to fixing the bylaws, which is the root of the problem, until we get past this mess right here, right? So I see a lot of people nodding, and I don't see anybody shaking their heads. So what are we going to do?
Hey, Chris.
Clark. Yes.
Chris. All this crap about meetings we're scheduling for nobody here or there. I've been on a committee for 8 or 10 years. We send out delegate forms every year. Some people fill them, they never come in. Nobody comes to the meeting. Meeting times were changed from 6 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 7 at night, every day of the week, yet we do not get participation from the service officer.
That is,
we got people here that never been to a meeting for 4 or 5 years. All of a sudden, the same interest, all of a sudden, they're gonna save us. This board is volunteer.
It is.
And does, every month does work on it.
Absolutely.
For no compensation, no thanks, yet we get dragged through every pile of shit there is.
Jack?
Pardon the word.
Jack?
Please don't interrupt him.
Do you hear me?
I hear you, I don't,
No?
I emailed you, okay? For who in this delegate right here does not have a DD 214? The rumors you heard, ask John Davin, who is he doing? Okay, I'm getting tired of the crap, I want to reply to some of this. And my heart's beating like a son of a bitch now, and I don't need you.
Can I reply?
No.
Go ahead.
Jack, my questions were questions.
Right.
I sent that out to the entire delegation. I asked Jen to send that out. You're absolutely right, Jack. I'm a new member here. And at some point in time, my VFW post let our delegates slide, and we didn't have anybody appointed. That was a mistake of my commander, and this is the mistake of several commanders of posts that are in Will County. I absolutely agree with you, Jack. We're not in disagreement there. And please don't take my comments as...
They're an attack on me.
No, Jack.
They are.
No, they're not.
Hold on. Let's have a timeout for a second. Can you just have a seat for a second?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's just take a timeout for a second.
Yep.
I understand. I just wanted to double check with you. All right. Yes. Hold on 1 second, please. All right. We need a minute. He just needs to pull himself together. Sure. He's got to take some. Wait till he's done. Give me 1 second. You okay, Jack? This is going to be the last comment, then we're going to take some action.
The reason I brought up a couple meetings ago about having a 214, I belong to 5 different organizations. And each organization, as you go through and they go through the chairs, a lot of them are not eligible. I didn't want this to happen. Here is the reason I brought it up. It wasn't attacking anybody. It's making sure that we don't get caught short-handed. A lot of organizations have. And it happened right here in the VFW 18th District. And it happened in different states. Like I stated at one meeting, I served on the appeals committee for the national headquarters of the VFW. Too many times we've had cases like that. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to get ready to open the meeting. I think I've heard from everybody. We're just going to put to the vote of the delegates what we're going to do this morning. I think that's the best, fairest way for everybody present. So we're going to go ahead and start the meeting, open it up, and then we'll give Jack a second, please.
I'd like to call the order, the commission meeting, October 31st, 9:35. Call the meeting to order. Please have the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chaplain, please.
Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together today. Please guide us in our deliberations in order that we may make prudent and wise decisions for those who we serve. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Can I have a roll call, please?
President Jack Piccolo,
Present.
Sergeant at Arms Amanda Coe. Here. Chaplain Jim Singler,
Present.
Member Steve Beneke,
Here.
Judge Advocate Lisa McGlasson. Here. AL 2000, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Janet.
That's all right.
AL 2000, Mokina. AL 1977 New Lenox, AL 1291 Crete, AL 1200 Moni,
That's you, that's me, that's Jared.
AL 1080 Joliet, AL 935 Manhattan,
Here, Robert Angoni.
AL 521 Steger, AL 392 Piatone, AL 241 Joliet, AL 191 Wilmington, AL 52 Romeoville,
That's me.
Steve.
Yeah, you can put that down, start with the hat on.
AL 5 Joliet,
Excuse.
AL 39 Braidwood, AL 18 Lockport,
Present, Mike Myers.
AL 13 Plainfield,
President James Castaneda.
VFW 9545 New Lenox,
President Clark Christensen.
VFW 8283 Steger, VFW 5917 Bolingbrook,
President John David.
VFW 5819 Lamont, VFW 5788 Lockport,
President Keith Carver.
VFW 5422 Wilmington,
President Jennifer Pino.
VFW 2199 Joliet, VFW 1493 Frankfurt,
Executive Committee.
VFW 725 Mokina, VFW 367 Joliet.
President Jim Clausen. Can you add up and determine if we have a quorum or not?
We have a quorum, yeah.
You have a quorum? All right, thank you. Next is,
Did we call Larry? No, you didn't call. Bolingbrook 12, American Legion 1288, Bolingbrook. Larry Shavy. Delegate.
Are there any other delegates who aren't?
do you have a delegate form for that, John?
Clear this right there.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
there's
yeah,
5917.
AL 1288. Are you the one that merged?
No, no, no.
Who merged?
I was the,
Yeah,
excuse
with
me.
who?
I was the
Hold on,
alternate,
that's not, hold on, that's not.
I was the alternate for 5917 VFW post, but I was appointed to 1288 and resigned.
Okay, no,
As
I was
delegate.
just trying to figure out the posts, that we have them all on
Thank
the
you.
list. That's all, I just want to know.
There is a letter on file withdrawn as an alternate.
Okay,
Thank you. All right, let's try to stick to the agenda.
I just,
Right now,
I get the
let's,
list.
let's try to stick to the agenda. Now we have public comments. Does anybody have any public comments? Go up to the podium, please, sir.
Hi, my name is, as you might know, my name's Robert Angoni of Manhattan Post 935. I would like to start out by saying that I'm sorry for the last meeting, my actions of turning down the nomination for secretary. I was looking out after myself and not for the veterans in it. If anybody does want to nominate me, I will accept it and I will work hard for that position or any other. A lot of the stuff I'm not going to go into because this is not for what this nomination meeting is. I do have a letter saying how we got to straighten out the bylaws and just, start fixing the VAC budget and all that, but let's not get into that stuff and let's just get this meeting going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
James Castaneda, Plainview American Legion. I'll use this time since we're going to talk about DD-214s. I know Jack brought it up and got all hyped up on it. Sorry that happened, Jack. There has been questions before about DD-214s, about members up here on the board. I do want to point that Janet Blue, right, is it? Do you have a DD-214? You don't have to answer that. So,
I do know.
you did not, yeah. You're up there.
I'm a delegate appointed by my
There's really
personal
not.
member.
Okay, well, I'm just saying,
Let's stop the question and answer a little bit.
This
you don't have to
comment,
answer.
please. Don't interrupt them.
But, you know, I do also want to have a meeting, you know, I understand the bylaws are jacked up, we knew that way back then when stuff started getting crazy, but, I do want to get through this as much as everybody else does. I'm not here to fight or argue with my fellow, you know, devil dogs or whatever. You know, I just want to get through this, but I want to do it the right way. You know, if people are messed up, they know they're messed up. And I was kind of confused when I saw the attorney up front representing them like that, when I thought it was supposed to be investigating them. But it is what it is. That's all I got for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comments?
John Kraft, I would just urge that you diligently work on creating bylaws to present to the commission in the December meeting that comply fully with state law. And don't add a lot of things that doesn't need to be in there. Like 3 members of the executive committee in order to have a meeting. It's ridiculous, but it's in the bylaw. The other thing is that people talk about DD 214. It is not required. You do not have to be a veteran to serve on the commission. If you read the Grundy County Veterans Assistance Commission versus Grundy County, the appellate court, even though it's a Rule 23 decision, which is not, you know, technically precedent setting, you do not have to be a veteran. You do not have to have a 214. You don't even have to be a member of the VSO that makes you a delegate. The judge, I believe, said that there's people that are completely competent to handle the affairs of the commission that may even be more competent than veterans. Personally, I would like to see every commission member be a honorably discharged veteran and a member of the organization that they were made a delegate of. To me, that makes sense, but that's not what the legislature did. The appellate court has already said we don't have to have 214. The only requirement for be an honorably discharged veteran is the superintendent. Period. Like I said, I don't agree with it. Hopefully the legislature will change it next year or year after. We can only hope, cross our fingers. But I am ready to help anybody that wants to adjust the bylaws. Anybody sitting up here, Jack, Amanda, the attorney, all the commission members. Matter of fact, I probably sent 2 or 3 emails with suggestions on changes. The bottom line in bylaws or in any executive committee has no power. They're fact-finding. They find things out. They advise the commission. That's their role. And their role is not to make decisions, which is why whoever said it was correct, that the commission can operate without an executive committee, because that's all it is, a committee of commissioners. But you need to correct the bylaws, and when you do correct them, I suggest you make them say that effective December, when they get approved hopefully, that the next executive committee will be nominated and elected the first meeting after February 28th of every year, and their term of office is for 1 year. That will comply as closely as possible to the term of office of delegates and alternates at the time when the statute says your forms have to be turned into the commission. I think anybody, if you want my information, I'll be glad to give it to you. And I believe I've already forwarded it to almost everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't comment while it's going on, but I wish you would, the DD 214, would you would please inform the state of Illinois VFW. Thank you.
Larry Shaver, delegate, American Legion Post 1288, Bolingbrook. The only thing I want to comment on is I agree with Clark And I'm willing to help Clark. Clark and I have worked together in state positions, we work together in district positions, and we work together in post positions. So I'd be more than willing to help form a committee, settle a committee, and get these bylaws straightened up. And I agree with everything my previous speaker stated. And that's all I have to say today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to make sure that anyone who has taken offense to anything I'm saying, this is not a personal attack, ever. This is purely, I'm a stickler for the rules and the bylaws, and when I see things being done not in accordance with them, it's something that I need to step up and attempt to try to fix, especially when it comes to veterans. And I understand I haven't been a member previously, but you know, life circumstances don't always allow for that. I'm trying to fix that right now. And the only other thing that I wanted to say was I wanted to read from the bylaws right here. This is Article 5, Section 6. Though it doesn't state DD 214, and this is a quote from the bylaws, a delegate and alternate will be selected as determined by each member organization and will be reported in writing to the Secretary of the Commission Board. The appointment of the delegate and alternate shall be signed by the chief officer of the organization on a form provided by the Secretary. Each delegate and alternate must be an honorably discharged veteran. That's from the bylaws. Now, my point here isn't to say that there are organizations who shouldn't have a voice here. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is this is just an example of where the bylaws need to be fixed. We have organizations such as the Gold Star Mothers, and though it's possible that a Gold Star Mother could be a veteran, currently the way the bylaws state this, a Gold Star Mother could not be a delegate to this commission because they are not an honorably discharged veteran. This would be exactly the same for my auxiliary at my post. The auxiliary at my post is a very similar organization to Gold Star Mothers. Many of the folks that are in my auxiliary have husbands and sons and daughters that are deceased, and as a result of the war and not. So, you know, and they aren't necessarily veterans, and so they aren't able to be a member of this delegation. Now, later on, I will admit that in the bylaws it does state that in order in this when it comes to, and I don't have this one pulled up right now, but it says the executive committee has to submit either their 214 or proof of you know, of the proof of their
Honorable service.
no, it's not. It has something to do with the relationship to the person who is a member. But you have that.
The next paragraph.
It's in the bylaws.
So later on, it does talk about newly elected officers must submit a copy of their DD 214 or honorable discharge certificate or such other proof of service, and this is where it gets sticky, or relationship to the eligible veteran. So we clearly have a conflict in our bylaws, and this is where the conjecture about making sure that people that are here are eligible to be here. But my proposal will be to fix those bylaws to remove that ambiguity and to include, you know, certain organizations that should certainly have a voice here. But that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more comments, please?
I have a comment there. I'm Steve Beneke. I'm a Cold War submarine veteran, served in the mid-60s. So yeah, I was punching holes in the Atlantic before a lot of you guys were even born, perhaps. I'm also a lame duck, 2-year member at large for the current executive board. These are my comments. You know, for the past 2 years, the current members of this board, with rare exceptions due to COVID or unavoidable excused absences, have attended every meeting in person, whether the COVID mask, virtually, 7:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock at night, fulfilling the responsibilities of the board on behalf of the veterans that we serve. I think we've kind of lost track of that. We're here for we're here for our veterans, not to put up with all this bullshit. Now, meeting agendas and notices for those meetings were emailed to the commission members with limited or non-existent participation, attendance by other commission members. And we talked about that, but that's in my notes, like I was saying. However, over the last, let's say, 4 or 5 months, whether motivated by the goading of political aspirations, vendetta, or outside political ideologies, unfounded, unproven accusations of fiscal wrongdoing, and attacks upon the integrity and validity of the current executive board has at least brought about more participation. So that's something. A previous board member, a Gold Star mother, who we just talked about, had been mercilessly and consistently attacked and vilified. Public comment has been shared by combat veterans who have lost their brothers in combat. Yet shameless attacks have been leveled upon a Gold Star mother of one of these brothers lost in combat. So much for honor, huh? Now, I respect and admire all combat veterans and those of us who found ourselves in harm's way during our tour of service. What I can't respect, nor admire, is a combat veteran, an American Legion post commander, standing here at this podium, rambling on for the better part of 5 minutes, ridiculing and insulting another veteran's leadership qualities because they chew gum. That's leadership, huh? I'm just going to get just into the delegates and I'm going to leave it at that, but we talk about who takes precedence over rules, regulations, etc. The Military Veterans Assistance Act gives 60 days for the members of the commission to respond to who are delegates by the form. That's 60 days from when the notifications went out. I'm here to tell you right now, and I'm not going to name them, because it doesn't matter, but there are at least 3 VFW posts and 4 American Legion posts that have delegate forms dated August, September, October. So I guess my question is, where the hell were you guys when we needed you? Craft's buddy over here talks about justice for all. Well, how about it? I think that's all I have to say. But when we get into the nominations and elections, I personally would like to hear from those nominated what they feel their qualifications are, what they hope to accomplish, and why they really want to be an officer on this board, if in fact we even have a board. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
We can ask everybody just to make sure their phones are silenced as we move forward with the meeting. Thank you. I don't have an agenda, so I have to look at yours, Jack.
And is this for comment?
So before we move on to the nominations, Jack, I'm going to articulate, if that's okay with everybody, a motion. And then if somebody agrees with it, they can second and first and second it. We can have a vote on it, and if not. So the motion is, should the Will County VAC Commission defer the nomination and election to its full commission meeting in December?
I will make a motion to defer this business until our meeting in December.
Second,
I did have a second from somebody else.
Yeah, somebody else.
I'll second.
second. Please state your name for the record, please.
Jennifer Peel.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, let's take a roll call on that motion.
We'll have a roll call vote, please. Everybody understands what the motion was?
No clue.
Okay, so we have time for discussion. We have a first and a second. What's before us is to defer the nominations and the election to the full commission regular meeting, a regular scheduled full commission meeting in December.
So we're voting on not voting today.
We're voting on deferring everything until the full commissions could be here. Our next regularly scheduled full commission meeting is scheduled. Does that make sense? Any other questions on the motion before?
I have a question.
Yes, yeah.
That question is not on the agenda.
That's right. But what is on the agenda is the nominating process, and that's enough notice. We're yes, we're fine. Thank you.
I
Lisa.
disagree.
Well, okay.
I'm just.
You can,
Well, he can bring it up if we can't vote.
it's a motion on the nomination process and whether we should defer it to the full regular board meeting, and it is proper. It's a proper motion.
It is, now that we've opened the meeting, it's a proper
I
motion.
didn't ask you.
Okay,
I know.
please,
Yeah, it's a
let's
proper
go.
motion.
We got the
It's
roll
not- it's
call vote,
notified.
please.
It's related to an agenda item.
Is anybody else confused before we vote?
Any other questions before we vote? Okay, so we have a first and a second on a motion to defer today's action, the nominations, and the election that's scheduled for Friday to the full next regular commission meeting in December. And we have a first and a second on it. Ready? We're all in agreement? Let's take the roll.
Amanda? No. Jim Singler?
No.
Janet Blue?
No.
Steve Beneke?
No.
Lisa McGlasson? Oh, you don't vote. Sorry. AL 2000? AL 1977? AL 1291? AL 1200?
Monique, yes or no?
I already voted.
She already voted. She voted yes.
AL 1080? AL 935?
Yes.
AL 521? AL 392? AL 241? AL 191? AL 52? Joliet,
You already got it.
or no, Romeoville. Okay. AL Joliet 5? AL 39 Braidwood? AL 18 Lockport?
No.
AL 13 Plainfield?
Yes.
VFW 9545 New Lenox?
Yes.
VFW 8283 Steger? VFW 5917 Bolingbrook?
Yes.
VFW 5819 Lamont? VFW 5788 Lockport?
Yes.
VFW 5422 Wilmington?
Yes.
VFW 2199 Joliet? VFW 1493 Frankfurt?
Already voted.
VFW 725 Mokina? VFW 367 Joliet?
Yes.
American Legion 1288?
Yes.
8 yeses and 5 noes.
So the motion carries to defer the nominations and the election to the next full commission meeting in December. That means,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
hold on, before we adjourn. Can I have a motion to cancel the November 4th meeting for the election on November 4th? I guess a motion to cancel the scheduled meeting on November 4th, the special, motion to cancel the November 4th, 22 meeting at 3 o'clock that's been scheduled.
I will make the motion to cancel the November 4th meeting that was at 3 o'clock.
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call vote, please.
Well, let's just do a hand up. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, one opposed. that meeting's canceled. Now there's, let me look at the agenda one more time.
That's it.
I don't think there's anything else to do, so a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
You can't second
All in
somebody
favor,
else's.
aye? Opposed?